Welcome back to the channel, everyone, coins collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we are taking a fascinating look at a United States Jefferson nickel. Coin number 1. This 1974 with ND Jefferson nickel, identified by the D mint mark for the Denver Mint. The coin we are discussing is described as being in green condition, with a claimed market value of $76,000. Let's begin with the history of this fascinating nickel. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938 and was designed by Felix Schlag. The obverse features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, while the reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. The design became one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. By 1974, the Jefferson nickel had already been circulating for more than 3 decades, making the 1974 issue part of a long and important numismatic tradition. The 1974 with D Jefferson nickel was produced at the Denver Mint. According to published references, approximately 373,000 examples were struck. The coin has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters and weighs approximately 5 grams. Its composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a plain edge shown. Now let's talk about the most obvious feature mentioned in today's example, the D mint mark. On a 1974 with D Jefferson nickel, the D indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Mint marks are extremely important to collectors because they help identify where a coin was produced and can distinguish one issue from another. When examining your coin, carefully inspect the area near the date and the mint mark location. Use good lighting and magnification because a small mint mark can sometimes be difficult to see on circulated or damaged coins. The next feature in today's description is the phrase green condition. This is not a standard Sheldon grading designation like very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated or mint state. When collectors describe a coin as green, they may be referring to its color, toning, appearance, or even a particular visual presentation. Green coloration on a copper-nickel coin can result from environmental exposure, chemical reactions, residue, contamination, or other surface changes. Therefore, a green appearance does not automatically mean that the coin is rare or valuable. In fact, collectors should be extremely careful when they encounter unusually colored coins. Natural toning can sometimes be attractive and collectible, but artificial coloring or environmental damage can reduce desirability. A professional grading service can help determine whether unusual coloration is natural, acceptable, questionable, or associated with damage. This is particularly important if someone is claiming that a visually unusual 1974 with D Jefferson nickel is worth tens of thousands of dollars. That doesn't mean the 1974 with D nickel is uninteresting. Quite the opposite. It means that collectors should focus on what makes a particular specimen exceptional. The key question is not simply, is this a 1974 with D nickel? The better question is, what is special about this particular 1974 with D nickel? One major factor is grade. Coin grading is the process of evaluating the condition of a coin based on wear, luster, marks, strike quality, preservation, and other characteristics. Circulated coins show evidence of use, while mint state coins have not entered normal circulation and can retain much of their original mint luster. As the grade rises, the population of surviving coins generally becomes smaller, and the value can increase. Next, coin number 2. 1947 Jefferson nickel, without a mint mark, described in very fine condition with a claimed market value of $87. If you have ever looked through an old coin jar, inherited collection, or forgotten box of change and wondered whether one of those small 5-cent pieces could be worth a fortune, this is exactly the kind of coin that deserves a closer look. The 1947 Jefferson nickel is an important post-World War II issue, and although ordinary examples are not normally worth anywhere near $87,000, exceptional condition, unusual varieties, full steps characteristics, and authenticated errors can dramatically change the value of an individual specimen. The year 1947 is particularly interesting because it came immediately after the extraordinary wartime period when the composition of the 5-cent coin temporarily changed. From 1942 through 1945, Jefferson nickels were made with a special wartime alloy containing silver, copper, and manganese because nickel was needed for military purposes. By 1946, the mint had returned to the traditional copper-nickel composition. The 1947 issue therefore belongs to the post-war return to the standard Jefferson nickel composition. A 1947 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is an important point for new collectors. The absence of a mint mark on a 1947 Jefferson nickel does not automatically mean that something is wrong with the coin. Philadelphia traditionally did not place a mint mark on its circulating coins during this period. So when you see a 1947 Jefferson nickel with no letter beneath or near the date, that can be completely normal. This is one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. An absent mint mark is not necessarily an error. Collectors need to know the mint marking practices of the year before deciding that a coin is unusual. A 1947 nickel without a mint mark is a legitimate Philadelphia issue and should not automatically be described as a mint error simply because there is no letter. Now let's focus on the condition mentioned in today's video. Very fine. Very fine, commonly abbreviated VF, is a recognized circulated grade. A very fine coin has experienced noticeable circulation, but important design details remain visible. On a Jefferson nickel, collectors will examine Jefferson's hair, facial details, lettering, date, and the Monticello design on the reverse. The exact grade within the very fine range depends on the amount and location of wear, the sharpness of the remaining details, and the overall condition of the surfaces. This is important because condition has a major effect on a coin's value. A heavily worn 1947 nickel and a spectacular mint state example can look like the same coin at first glance, but their collector values can be dramatically different. Current PCGS pricing data for the 1947 issue shows values increasing as the certified grade rises, with the highest levels reserved for much better preserved coins. So if your 1947 Jefferson nickel is genuinely very fine, you should not compare it directly with a rare MS67 or MS68 example. Very fine and mint state are completely different categories. A circulated very fine coin has evidence of wear, while a mint state coin has not experienced normal circulation wear. Let's take a closer look at the obverse. At the center is the portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around him are the inscriptions Liberty, the date 1947, and the phrase In God We Trust. When examining your coin, look closely at the date. Because the value of a coin can depend heavily on its exact year and mint, you want to make sure the date is genuinely 1947 and has not been altered. Next, examine the word Liberty. The letters should have the correct style and spacing associated with the Jefferson nickel design. Look around Jefferson's hair and cheek for signs of wear. In very fine condition, some of the finer details will be softened, but the overall portrait should remain clearly recognizable. The reverse of the coin is equally important. The central design shows Monticello, the famous building associated with Thomas Jefferson. Above it is the inscription E Pluribus Unum, while the words United States of America, 5 cents, and Monticello surround the design. The steps beneath Monticello are especially interesting to advanced Jefferson nickel collectors. This brings us to the famous full steps characteristic. Full steps, commonly abbreviated FS, refers to the preservation and clarity of the steps at the base of Monticello. On Jefferson nickels, strong and uninterrupted steps can add substantial collector interest, especially on high-grade coins. The reason is simple. The steps were often vulnerable to weak strikes and contact marks. A coin with complete, sharply defined steps can therefore be much more difficult to find than an ordinary example. PCGS's current price guide illustrates the premium that full steps can create. For the 1947 issue, the PCGS data shows separate values for regular mint state examples and full steps examples, with the full steps series reaching substantially higher levels in the finest grades. This is why anyone examining a 1947 Jefferson nickel should turn the coin over and study Monticello carefully. Don't just look at the building. Look specifically at the horizontal steps. Are they visible? Are they sharp? Are there interruptions? Are there contact marks running across them? Are the lines complete from one side to the other? If your coin is only very fine, it would normally show circulation wear on these details. But if you believe your coin has unusually strong details despite circulation, it could still be worth having examined by an experienced numismatist. Another major factor is surface preservation. Even a coin with attractive details can lose value if its surfaces have been heavily scratched, cleaned, polished, stained, corroded, or otherwise damaged. This is why collectors are strongly advised not to clean potentially valuable coins. Next, coin number 3. This 1962 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, described as being in brown condition with a claimed market value of $71. This is the kind of coin that can immediately attract attention because large values are often associated with old coins, rare varieties, exceptional grades, and unusual mint errors. Let's begin with the history of the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel as America's 5-cent coin. The obverse features Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, while the reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. The design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose work became one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. By 1962, the Jefferson nickel had already been in production for more than 2 decades. Millions of Americans were using these 5-cent coins every day. They circulated through grocery stores, restaurants, vending machines, banks, transportation systems, and countless households. A single 1962 nickel could have passed through thousands of hands before eventually being saved by a collector. The 1962 Jefferson nickel, without a mint mark, was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. This is a very important point for anyone who is new to coin collecting. During this period, Philadelphia generally did not place a mint mark on its circulating Jefferson nickels. Therefore, when you find a 1962 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, you should not automatically assume that the mint mark has been removed or that the coin is an error. Now let's discuss the phrase brown condition. Unlike terms such as very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, and mint state, brown is not a standard numerical grade for a Jefferson nickel. Brown is primarily a description of color or surface appearance. A coin may develop brown coloration because of natural toning, environmental exposure, oxidation, contamination, storage conditions, or other factors. On a copper-nickel coin, such as a Jefferson nickel, unusual brown coloration should be examined carefully rather than automatically treated as a sign of rarity. Let's take another close look at the phrase without mint mark. On the 1962 Jefferson nickel, that feature indicates Philadelphia production. It is not equivalent to a missing mint mark error. If you have a 1962 nickel with no mint mark, that is exactly what you would expect from a Philadelphia example. The San Francisco issue would carry an S mint mark, while Denver examples would carry a D mint mark. Comparing these mint marks can help collectors understand the different issues from the same year. This is why learning mint history is so important. The mint mark is a tiny letter, but it can completely change the identity of a coin. Now consider the word brown again. Color can be caused by many things, including natural toning and environmental exposure. A brown appearance may be attractive to some collectors, but it is not automatically a premium feature. Professional grading and market acceptance are what matter. If the coin has evidence of corrosion, residue, or environmental damage, that can actually reduce its value. So don't assume that unusual color means rare. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the 1962 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more videos about rare US coins, Jefferson nickels, valuable varieties, mint errors, unusual toning, and hidden treasures that could be sitting in ordinary collections. Share this video with another coin collector who loves searching for valuable nickels. And remember, Every coin deserves a second look, because sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, protect your coins, and never clean a potentially valuable specimen before having it properly evaluated. Your next great numismatic discovery could be hiding in the most ordinary place.